Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and I thought we'd take a look at the new iPhone 15 and iPhone 15 Plus. I already unboxed the new iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max, so be sure to check out that video if you haven't already. And these particular devices are a little bit less expensive, but not terribly inexpensive. The 15 starts at $799 for 128 gigabytes. The 15 Plus goes up to $1,199 for 512 gigabytes. They're $30 more if you buy them unlocked. This is what we've seen before. Unfortunately, they're doing that again this time. Now, the colors this year, we have black, blue, this blue, green, yellow, and a new pink. So we have a new blue, green, and pink. The others are a little bit different just because they have a matte back. We'll take a closer look at that in a moment, but let's go ahead and unbox these. So we'll just unbox this. These are both 128 models. So we'll open up the packaging here. Let's do the same over here, and let's open them up. There we go. Same thing. They've gotten rid of plastic this year again. Let's go ahead and take the tops off the boxes. This is the first time seeing these colors in person, and this is infused glass or ion infused glass, where they've actually colored it by coloring the glass itself, not putting a backing on it. So the blue and the green look pretty good. We'll compare them to some other colors in just a moment. Let's take a look at the cable. Same cable we get with the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max models. It's a nice braided cable, USB-C to USB-C, offers USB 2.0 charging. And then in here, we should have an Apple sticker along with information about our eSIM and a warranty card. So what we expected, unfortunately, no matching Apple stickers as far as the color goes. Now let's go ahead and take the cover off the screen. And one nice touch, I think I just noticed here, is on both of these. This is something before I take these off. The little lightning bolt here where USB-C is, let me hold these a little differently, you'll see matches the color of the phone. So that's just a nice little touch there. If you can see it, green and blue. Now let's go ahead and remove the cover here. There we go for the green one. Let's take off the blue cover. And there we go. Let's put the boxes aside and take a closer look. Now this year, this is actually a big redesign, even though it doesn't look like it right up front. This color is really subtle, but I actually really like it. Very pastel, very light. And to compare this quickly with the current color from iPhone 14, here's the iPhone 14 blue. Here we have almost a cloud blue. Apple just calls it blue, but it's very, very light. The same is true with green here. Let me bring in an iPhone 11 so you can see the difference. So if you haven't seen these in person, this gives you an idea of what they actually look like. They're very, very subtle colors, but I think they look great. Of course, if you're going to put a case on them, that's going to make a difference. Now let's move these out of the way and quickly compare the overall size of the 14 with the 15. So this gives you an idea. You can see we have curved, rounded edges, very subtle, but definitely there. Less squared off, very comfortable to hold. And again, very subtle colors, but we don't have a glossy back. It's a matte back, which is really, really nice. Thickness-wise, they're just about the same. Overall, not much of a difference there. And everything else is very similar. However, let's take a look around the phones and you can see the difference there. So of course, on the sides here, we're going to have our volume buttons and then also our silent switch. We don't get the action buttons unless we get the Pro phone. And then on the top, nothing here. Then on the other side, the power sleep wake button, millimeter wave antenna for 5G in the United States. And of course, on the bottom, something we never thought we'd see in iPhone, we have USB-C. Now this is USB-C 2.0, so it has pretty slow transfer speeds, unlike the Pro models where it's USB 3, but we can still charge at the same rate. And if you need a new charger for the new USB-C port or just some extra power, this video sponsor Anker has you covered. There's a new Nano 20-watt charger. This is something I use all the time, and it works very well with their USB-C cables, which can handle up to 240 watts of power and are color matched to the new iPhones. Or if you need some portable power, the Anker Nano Power Bank has a 30-watt two-way fast charging that can charge the iPhone 15 to 50% in 30 minutes. It's got a built-in USB-C dongle. Just plug it in here, and it starts to charge, and it has a little display on the front. It's super convenient, has additional power options on the side, and offers 10,000 milliamp hours on the go. Or if you need something even more portable, the new Nano Power Bank offers 22.5 watts of charging with 5,000 milliamp hours of power. Plug it in again, and you can charge. You'll see it turns on, shows you the charge status, and then you can charge through it. Super convenient on the go and matches nicely with the latest iPhones. We've got blue and different colors as well. They all feature Anker's Active Shield 2.0 with dynamic temperature sensors as well, and you can check out Anker's whole Nano lineup for 2023 with a link in the description below. Be sure to check it out if you're interested. The overall weight has changed this year as well. It's gone down just a little bit. The iPhone 15 comes in at 6.02 ounces or 171 grams, where the iPhone 15 Plus comes in at 7.09 ounces or 201 grams. So a little bit less than before. It definitely feels nicer to hold on to with the rounded edges, somewhere between the iPhone 11 Pro Max and iPhone 12 Pro Max. So it's a little more comfortable since it's not such of a sharp edge on the edge, but you can still hold on to it. It reminds me a little bit of maybe the iPhone 5 compared with the iPhone 5C, sort of combined with those two. Now, as far as setting this up, let's go ahead and boot both of these. You can see we have a dynamic island here. We'll give it just a moment, and it's already picked up quite a few fingerprints on the display, but I wouldn't really worry too much about that on the sides of the phone. So we'll give this one a minute to boot up. This one was plugged into the Anker power banks, so it turned on by itself. So I'll get these set up in just a second. So I'll set these up quickly, like I've done before with this phone, the 15 Pro Max. I almost forgot the name there. We'll give it a moment to connect. I'll get it ready, put in my passcode, and set up my account on this phone. We'll give that just a moment. Now, a couple things to note is as soon as you connect your devices together, just like I did a moment ago, the first prompt you'll get is for a software update. That's because these typically ship with iOS 17. I'm going to skip it so we can verify that, but there was a day one update to iOS 17.0.2, which you'll actually want to install before moving over your data. And it actually prompts you to do this. So it's not much of an issue. Just go ahead and upgrade and you'll be good to go to transfer your data. But we'll skip this for now. We'll go to Data and Privacy, tap Continue, give it just a moment here. Now it wants me to set up Face ID, tap on Get Started, and we'll position my face here, see if I can do both at the same time. There we go. And it worked to set up both at the same time. Now we can transfer our apps and data. I won't transfer anything just so we can set this up quickly. Then we have to put in our Apple ID. Once we agree to the terms and conditions, we have this nice new sign-in screen here, so we'll give it a moment to finish signing in. Now we have a screen that says make this your new iPhone. It's asking if we want to transfer everything. I'll tap on Customize. It's asking if I want to update my phone automatically. I'll only download. It asked me if I wanted to transfer my number. Since I don't, I skipped it, and we'll set up Apple Pay later as well. Then it's asking if we want to improve Siri and dictation. I'll push Not Now. We can set up screen time or set it up later in settings. And then we have iPhone Analytics. I don't share those. And then we have Emergency SOS. Again, I'll tap Continue. And then Welcome to iPhone. So pretty simple setup like we had before. I'm not going to set up cellular right now. Let's first take a look at what version came pre-installed with this. So we'll go to Settings, then we'll go down to General, then About, and you'll see both phones were installed with iOS 17 with a build number of 21A327. So what we expected, I saw that on the Pro phones as well. I almost forgot to check the wallpaper. In fact, I did forget to check it on my Pro video. So we'll go into Wallpaper, add new wallpaper, and here's the wallpaper set on the phone. I think it looks good once it's set, but I think Apple definitely needs to bring along some nicer wallpaper this year, as these are a little bit uninspiring compared to what we've seen in the past. With macOS Sonoma, we have a ton of new wallpaper, over 100, so I would love to see some sort of approach with the iPhone as well. Now the displays, we have 6.1 inch and 6.7 inch, and they're the same resolution that we get with the Pro models. However, they're only 60 Hertz and they don't have an always-on display. So they'll just turn off like that, and they don't have always on. Now this may be for battery savings, or it could be the same display that they're disabling those features on, which I hope that's not the case. But they do go just as bright as last year's displays and this year's as well. 1,000 nits for regular use, 1,600 nits in HDR, and 2,000 nits outdoors. That's what we had with the Pro models last year and the Pro models this year. Now as far as PWM, or pulse width modulation, is the way it controls brightness. If it flickers, it can bother your eyes. You won't be able to see this except under slow motion, and we don't really see it with the Pro models. But with the regular 15 and 15 Plus, let's go ahead and take a look at 240 frames per second. second. So here's at 240 frames per second what the displays look like. We have them at 50% brightness, and you can see that they're actually flickering. If I bring in the 15 Pro Max, put the brightness way down at 240 frames per second, you can see what it looks like. It still seems like the 15 Pro Max is not flickering. So if you're susceptible for PWM bothering your eyes, like it does for me, about 1 in 10 people experience this where they get eye strain or feel nauseated, this is much better on the Pro phone than the regular 15 and 15 Plus. Of course, we have the A16 Bionic from the iPhone 14 Pros, and I believe we have 6 gigs of RAM. So let's check. And if we go into Geekbench 6, you can see the RAM. 6 gigs of RAM, or 5.54 and 5.52 on the Plus. So 6 gigs of RAM here, which there are some limitations to this device, even though it has the processor of the Pros last year. We do have Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.3. We get the new 2nd gen ultra wideband chip, but there's no Wi-Fi 6E or no thread networking. Those must be built into the new A17 Pro. Now, one thing I did want to talk about as far as this goes is the cameras, because there's some limitations with it, and there really shouldn't be based on the specs. So the front camera is a 12 megapixel camera, f1.9, same as the Pros, and the rear camera gets upgraded this year. So we have a 48 megapixel camera, f1.6 from last year's Pros, along with an ultra-wide 12 megapixel f2.4. Now, compared to the Pros, there's no night mode portraits, no macro photography, which there should be given that we have an ultra-wide, no Apple ProRAW, no ProRes video as well, even though we have the A16 Bionic and the same RAM that we did last year. So we have the same sensors and everything. I definitely think they should have just given them to these phones, but they decided not to. So that's a bit disappointing. If we go into the camera here, it should take really nice photos and video, just like last year's 14 Pro. But again, we're not going to have those settings if we go down into our camera settings. So if we go to camera, again, go to camera, go to formats, there's no ProRAW or ProRes. So that's a bit disappointing, like I said, since we have the processor that can handle it. Now, as far as the batteries are a little bit of an improvement over last year. We have 3,349 milliamp hours on the iPhone 15. The iPhone 15 Plus has 4,383 milliamp hours. And as you can see here with Coconut Battery, it's a Mac app that you download outside the App Store. You can see that it has similar battery to what it's stated as, maybe a little bit higher like the Pro did. Also, it should have the same battery life as last year's iPhone 14 and 14 Plus models. So pretty much no difference there. It should give you all-day battery, but we'll have to wait and see and test it out and see if it's any better. Now, we do have those battery settings here as well, and it looks like we had AirDrop happen as I brought those close together. But if we go into our settings, we'll go back into our battery settings. We'll scroll up here, and under battery, and again under battery here, if we go into battery health and charging, and then we go to charge optimization, we have the option for 80% limit. So this is something we do have that people reported on, and we should actually be able to see the charge cycles as well under general and then about. And at the bottom, you'll see the actual manufacture date of the battery, first use, and cycle count. There's no reason they couldn't bring this to the previous iPhone models. Hopefully we'll see that in a software update. So that's something I really look forward to, that I definitely think they should bring to older models. As far as anything else, well, there's really not a whole lot more to talk about. I do think these are a bigger update than many people thought. It's a really nice design. It doesn't look terribly different, but the colors are noticeable as they stand out. You may love them or not, but either way, it's a pretty big upgrade compared to what we had last year. However, I would like Apple to go down to just 2 models. Give us everything every year in just 2 models with these 2 sizes. Just call them the iPhone, get rid of the Pro, the regular one, and give everyone the features, since that's pretty much what we have anyway, and maybe have similar prices. Let me know what you think about that in the comments below. So there's not much more to talk about with these. If there's anything you want to know specifically or you'd like to see in future videos, let me know in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed already though, please subscribe, and if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.